Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Milk here, coming at you with episode number 11. In the last episode, we saw how we got meshed and cheated out of our base over on Svartalfheim, but in retaliation, the dev wiped the alphas off their center map, Aberration, and Svartalfheim, which now means that Shadow Cave is free to claim. So, with our base being wiped off the other map, our entire tribe is focused and concentrating their efforts over on Aberration, where transfers are still locked off, and we are now the dominant tribe over on this map. So we've claimed Shadow Cave, but with that comes the requirement to get a lot of farming done, build up our resources again, start our lines going again, and get an Ellie farm going. Here we are jumping right into the beta boss fight. This was probably the most reliable way of getting elements at the time. So we just farmed up the artifacts because all the caves are now free, and worked away with the tribe through getting our engrams and getting the Ellie that comes with the boss fight, which they added in the Ark Survival Ascended. So, as most people know from this boss fight, we're just shooting the tentacles, shooting the orbs. This was actually the first time I've done it this tactic. Normally, I'll go in with the cactus broth and just shotguns, and you avoid all the tames. But we decided to play it a bit more safe this time and bring in some dinos for protection. And also, we can't get the cactus broth because transfers are blocked, so you can't get it from Scorched Earth. So the dinos are here just to protect us from all the Nameless and the Reapers while we shotgun the tentacles. And it's simple as that. Rinse and repeat, and then kill the boss. There we go. Tech pod, rock drake saddle, and deady storages, as well as 10 extra levels. But the most important thing for us here was the element. And then remember, because transfers were blocked, the most important thing to do is to put all your gear inside your dino so that when you get uploaded, you can download your character again without having to get rid of all your gear. Which is important because we're about to jump straight into the alpha fight. So alpha, basically the same as beta, just a bit more aggressive dinos, everything's got a bit more life and everything does a bit more damage. So using this tactic is very important to bring plenty of spare flak sets and to bring your light pets. So same. We're just shooting down the tentacles. We've divided our tribe up into thirds, so each group takes 1/3 of the arena. We just kill the tentacles in that area. But until you kill the first tentacle, you are vulnerable to getting smacked, and that is what's going to damage your flak. There's, I think there was about 8 of us doing this fight. We've got 500 ammo each, which is plenty for this. When you're in between phases, you can spend some time clearing some of the dinos, just so you got a little bit less cluster on your screen coming to the end of the last phase when everything gets a little bit crazy. This is one of the more enjoyable boss fights of Ark, I must say, but it is still quite a lot of repetition. You can see there that I've already gone through quite a lot of flak just from getting hit by the tentacles. You got to make sure you hit these fiery balls that come through the air. They do damage to you, and I believe it's the pink ones that come through that dismount and you do a little stun. And the most annoying thing with that is that they can knock your shoulder pet off your shoulder, which then means it's very easy to get killed, and you can then easily get swarmed by the Nameless. So you shoot the balls, shoot the tentacles, kill the ads in that order, and it's a pretty straightforward boss fight.
No Reaper here.
Reaper. Lick, you might want to move back. You're in the Reaper acid.
Vete para atrás, Lick. Un poco. Por si acaso.
Good, I cleared them all. Last one? Oh, nice, well done.
And there we have it. So the engrams this adds is cloning chamber, tech chest, and your railgun, which is still broken as far as I'm aware and not added to ASA. Alright, and here we are. We've now got ourselves a Reaper baby. I'm impregnated. I've leveled it up. We're just hatching it. This is especially important early game, before we get mutated lions and dinos, to get some reapers. They're great in defense and offense. So you just make yourself in a box, fill your inventory with a bit of meat, and then when the reaper comes and eventually kills me, go on, have a nibble, he will be filled with all the meat that was inside my inventory. So while he's raising, take a look what else we've got going on. We've built out our shadow cave. This is our raising floor. We've got lots of pyramanes, eelings, carbos, stegos, all the essential dinos up and running, because we do have some enemies now on the map. But we're in a dominant position. You can see here the Mororexes and Mororaptors that are on this modded cluster. Broken dinos, but very, very handy. Here's our crafting area. We're fully teched here now after those boss fights, which is just making life more easier and more efficient. Got plenty of space. There's been Shadow Cave. Your only real problem in this cave is your structure limit, because it's such a massive cave with so many layers. Here we are, it was my job in the tribe to get the carbos up and running. So this is just a nice little trick. If you're mass raising tons of carbos, stand on the tail of a reaper or a diplo and it will spread them out nicely, so you can just run around and claim a bunch like here. Okay, so that's it for the aberration part of the video. Here we are back in my cave, which I said was unraidable in the last episode. And here we are trying to raid it. So a bit of time has passed. The guys who were banned for cheating when they wiped us out of this cave didn't get dev wiped off this map, but they have now been offline for a little over 2 weeks, which is important because that means that all of their metal is just decayed, which means that this unraidable cave, which if I hadn't figured this out, we wouldn't have been able to take it, and if they had been banned, we wouldn't have been able to take it. But all their metal foundations have decayed, so now we can build into their base with just some stone foundations, a bit of metal, and slowly but surely. This is the first time I've ever built into a base, building the foundations in the base itself. Normally you place your foundations above or below the cave, and that allows you to build walls and ceilings and create a line of sight for the turrets. This was the first time that I was actually able to just build the foundations as we went, and that was fine. All we really cared about was getting the cave back, and all of our element is still in their generator and in those tech turrets, so we've lost nothing by just letting the heavy turrets decay. We're just going to take it nice and slow and steady. This way of raiding does get a lot of hate from the community. Personally, I don't mind it. I think it adds another layer to the game. It makes caves like this potentially raidable, which would otherwise be broken. And if you want to stop people from building in it, well, you just got to place your own spam. You got to place towers outside. It encourages a bit more outside PvP, so people don't just sit in their caves. And ultimately, it's only ever going to work if you find an offline window. This is very, very easily countered with just a single rocket, especially as this tunnel is in 6x, which you may or may not see in a few minutes. Yeah, it's a fun way of trying to figure out how you can build into bases, cheese the turrets, and in our case, get our cave back from some cheaters. We are obviously still quite poor. We lost everything when we got meshed, so we're rocking this with some prim flak and stone. I'd obviously recommend you don't do it in stone. It's 6x and tech turrets do shoot through stone very quickly, so you've got to be very careful not to let even a single shot hit you. Really, there's no difference in doing it between stone and wood. I would never do it in thatch. In thatch, you can sometimes get shot through the walls. There's a little sliver of a crack at the top of the wall adjoining the ceiling. So definitely try and get yourself wood or stone at a minimum. But metal is better because metal will be able to take a couple hits at least from tech turrets in 6x, which just means that you don't need to do this completely faultlessly. And obviously, since I made this video, the game has released something called the Wisp of Industry. The Wisp of Industry is basically a skill unlocked in the Lost Colonies skill tree, and this makes this building in tactic even easier. The Wisp is basically like if you're in camera mode, you can just float around and you can place anything that's in your hotbar. You've still got to be careful not to let the turret shoot you, because the splash damage will destroy these stone structures, and it puts the Wisp on, I think it's a 5-minute cooldown if it gets shot once. But it means that your character doesn't die. You don't need to have constantly changing flak. You can be a bit bolder with the angles that you're going through, because the risk is less, especially if you're building in metal. So Wisp of Industry is one thing, and the other thing is they added this telekinesis ability, and they're both fortunately in the same area of the skill tree, so you can get them both. And the telekinesis basically means you can open bags from, I think it's 20 meters away. This is especially good in this because if you die, you can collect your body without having to build back up to your body, so it is easier if you mess up. And also you can access other stuff, so if you can get within 20 meters of their vaults or their fridges or their generator, you can just take out the gasoline or their element or whatever it is. So those talents have definitely made this way of cheesing bases significantly easier. And if you've never raided a base like this, I would definitely recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It does take a little bit of time, but it guarantees all the loot and all the turret ammo, if you haven't waited for the heavies to auto decay. So the key is slowly but surely. Here we're using pillars just to expand our foundation control, and the generator they placed way back in the lava itself, so it is quite hard to see. I'll have a peek at it here. So it's just down there where you can see that glow on the left side of the screen. Now I tested this in single player, and that is too far to reach even with all these foundations with a tech rifle, unless we go all the way down to the lava layer and build along there. So we're going to have to use rockets when we get close enough. The question is just deciding when you're close enough. So patience, and also I should give a shout out to Tamed here, Spudster, who's my tribe mate. This is a lot easier when you've got one person running logistics. If you've got one person who's going back to base, getting more structures, getting you more flak sets, really you only want one person doing the building. The hardest thing about the building is if you place something in the wrong place, then demolishing it can sometimes be impossible without getting shot. So you've got to make sure that everything is placed correctly the first time. So therefore you really only want one person doing the building. But if you've got another player, like Tamed here was, running me more walls and more ceilings, then it does make it all significantly easier. So here we are, we're just approaching the final part. I'm being careful not to place ceilings on the floor there, because I want to be able to shoot down. And like I say, you don't want to place things in the wrong place. So there's a hole there. Oh, you can see there, just one shot knocked me, and then the other shot destroyed the wall. So yeah, that's what I mean about being super careful. You just cannot take this slow enough. And we've invested a little bit of metal just in these critical walls, because it is worth it. I mean, ideally you do a little bit of farming before you do this, but we literally have nothing. So we're Tamed is out there with a hatchet and a pick, making me the structures as we go on 1x rates. So yeah, so just keep on building, take it slow, build plenty of blockage for the line of sight, and yeah, nice and chill. Okay, so here we are, we've got the rocket. I've demolished, or I changed that one to metal because I'm aware that the splash might damage it. And we can see the generator through there. We've got to make sure we get the right angle. I included the mess ups as well. I clearly didn't leave enough of a gap. We know there's no heavies, so there's nothing to shoot the rockets. So what I did there was I accidentally just shot the floor. That shot was too close to the wall, and you can see the blood splatter, so tech turret did hit me as well. So I was lucky there that it didn't blow up any of the stone, otherwise that would have to be a rebuild again. So you just got to be careful. Again, you know, the splash damage was just too much. So I thought we'd try it with the tech rifle. Like I say, it looks like it's too far to reach, but at this point we were getting fed up with the rockets that I kept shooting. There's a tech turret quite close to the generator there, so with a tech rifle you can hug the walls and the ceilings and the floors tighter to try and get an angle, whereas obviously with a rocket you need to be a bit further away from all those things. And then the splash damage, if it clips the terrain, just blows up your entire tunnel in 6x when it's made of stone. But no matter where I'm shooting here with this tech rifle, this is just too far too far. But I thought we'd try it just on the off chance. But actually, you know, now that I've crept to the edge, you can see it's just not taking any damage. Something's damaged at 16, but in 6x, that's probably just a little bit of splash from one of those shots, or maybe it was damaged when they were placing it in the lava, who knows. But yeah, but actually, you know, I've got a good visual on it now, so I don't need the tech rifle. I can go back to doing rockets, and I can just be a bit more careful. And there we go. That should have splashed it. Yeah, perfect. It's going to take a fair few rockets. Doing some quick mental maths here, but probably are short by 1 rocket. So tamed is going to go and fetch that for me. We're also assuming that they've only got 1 generator, but we did a fairly comprehensive scout, and these guys just placed this in a hurry when they finished meshing us. So I've got no reason to think that they've spent a particularly long amount of time working on these defenses. You know, turret settings and all that will be just bog standard. There we go, 3k left. So yeah, I need one more rocket after this one. .2. And there we go. Generator is down. So here we are, just looking through what they've left in the transmitter. Obviously all of this is basically our loot, stuff they just didn't have time to bring back to the server. So quite a lot of our elements still there. Some turrets. Just running to the back of the cave to see if there's anything left in our crafting area. Back here was where we had our generator and all of our loot. Oh, there's a couple of vaults here, we're going to have to blow into those later. Let's see. I thought I could see from camera mode that through the mesh that there was some stuff back here, but nah, a lot of it's blown. Okay, this is where our war room was. There's 1 vault with our saddles in. Just some trash saddles, nothing major. Okay, and this was our crafting. Alright, so we've still got our rep, that's good, because we are going to have to start from scratch on this map, and the rep will certainly give us a boost up. We've got a fair amount of resources. It's mainly just hide though. Bit of other bits and bobs. Obviously they would have taken anything valuable. So yeah, the rep is the best results. Okay, a few of our bits and bobs are there. We were never rich to begin with on this map, so it's not the end of the world. So that's good. Well, there's a couple more vaults down there. See what they've left. These are our vaults. They must have fallen from above. Bit of flak. Obviously much better than the prim flak we're currently rocking. And just some trash. These must have been some of our trash vaults. So that wraps up that. That is us raiding our cave back again on the Spotify map. We've established ourselves on Aberration. We've done the boss fights. We've got our engrams. We're now gearing up for the next big assault. The fight for Aberration.